Hello, my name's Fiona. I'm University Chaplain, and for LGBT History Month I want to tell you about an experience I had in France a couple of years ago. I made my first pilgrimage to a place called Thésée. Thésée is built around an order of monks, and young people come from all over Europe to visit. It's a sort of spiritual holiday camp, and the food is, well, interesting, and not in a good way. I was there as a leader with a group of under 30s from my diocese, and I didn't really know what to expect. It was very much a trip of new experiences, some of them great, but not all of them positive. I'm not good with crowds, so sitting down in a chapel that can host at least 3,000 people in the heat 3 times a day was a challenge. Staying silent for 10 minutes at a time was initially an even greater challenge for me. 10 whole minutes. I came to love it. But these weren't the only steep learning curves of the trip. After evening prayers, the brothers would offer a listening service, and people would wait behind in the chapel and have a chance to speak one-to-one. As a priest, I was offered the opportunity to do this on our last evening there. It was really exciting. Why? It was a privilege to don the same robe as the brothers, as a female priest. I was quickly on the back foot as I realised that, despite speaking fluent French and German, albeit slightly rusty, I'd never studied the spiritual language needed. I looked around to see a male colleague from Finland with a couple of people waiting. I had a queue. There was a novelty in a female priest dressed up as a brother monk, it would seem. I listened. I prayed with people. I blessed crosses people had brought. And then came a standout moment, a moment I will never forget. A young German woman took up the single seat opposite me, and without much precursor said, "I'm gay. Does that mean God doesn't love me?" I was absolutely floored. I felt tears coming into my eyes. What could it possibly feel like to think that you were outside God's love? What could it possibly feel like to come all the way to a rural bit of France, to a religious holiday camp, not knowing if God's love was there for you? There is in my mind a very short answer. Of course God loves you. The Bible's very clear on this. We are all made in God's image, and God loves God's creation. End of, as far as I'm concerned. If only it were that simple. The problem is that religion, especially organised religion, can work its way around to being exclusive, not inclusive. It can become a place of insiders rather than a gathering of all. It can become a human-built bastion of cherry-picked ideas and norms, where, for comfort and safety, diversity and difference become rejected. You're either in or you're out. But who gets to decide that? As a Christian, I only have to look to the Gospels on the life of Jesus to see how engaged he was with the marginalised in his society. Who are the people who feel marginalised today? Homosexuals, bisexuals, trans people, non-binaries? Who would Jesus hang out with today? I want to bet that Jesus would have sought their inclusion. The problem here is one of religion versus faith, as I see it. Religion is the human outworking of the connection to the divine. It's a checkered history of patriarchal influence. We need to look beyond bricks and mortar and the human thumbprints on them, if we are to truly understand who God is in our lives and what God, no pronoun, expects of us. I would hope never to encounter someone again who feels outside God's love. But I know this won't be true. There are barriers to be broken down, institutionalised norms to be challenged, laws to be changed. But that doesn't mean we can't aim for a more inclusive future for all faiths. If I aspire to be Christ-like, which is what it means to be Christian, the clue is in the name, then I am to reassure everyone of God's love. Everyone. Here's a closing thought, and I'm with St. Catherine of Siena. Be who God meant you to be, and you will set the world on fire. Be who God meant you to be, and you will set the world on fire. I hope you can be who God meant you to be.